Hi kids, it is Mrs. Donahue and it is the end of the day on Virtual Wednesday. I saw a few of you logged into the Extra Help meet, but not when the meet was, not when I was here for the meet. I was downstairs having lunch. The meet times for Extra Help are 1:40 to 2:40. So you can come in during those times. If you come in and just leave me a message about something you need, I can always try to address it via the chat form or send you an email back, which is what I was hoping we could get started. Also use Remind, because that Remind message waits for me and then it texts you directly when I respond to it. This is just an exit ticket review video, so I like to do this when you have exit tickets, and almost always one of the questions on the exit tickets is, what questions do you have for me? And then I can address them sort of all at once. It looked like many of you said everything was fine. There were a couple of videos that you mentioned that were restricted. However, you need to remember that when you tell me a video is restricted, I don't know which video you're talking about. So whenever you're mentioning some sort of technological problem you're having, please be specific. Say the Madonna video, both of the links were the YouTube. So someone eventually told me that that was the issue, that you didn't have access to the lyrics, and I fixed it. But if you just say some videos were restricted, that was hard to understand where I needed to address the problem. One thing you can do, now on my screen it looks like everything has open permissions. This is the problem with having a teacher screen. One thing you can try doing is opening the YouTube videos on your personal email, which is why some of you were not getting it through the laptop, but it was working on your phones. I don't know why, if you were at home and on your own internet, that restriction would still be in place, but it must be connected to the Monmouth Regional Google as opposed to the internet. So do try swapping out your usernames with your personal one to see if that helps. And if it does, that's probably the issue. If it doesn't, that is not the issue, and we need to troubleshoot a different answer. Some of you guys said you didn't quite know like what was happening in terms of why we were doing this assignment. Although very minimally. It looked like only about two of you said, I don't quite know like why we're listening to the music. So one, we want to look at America in a well-rounded way. That's why we're looking at the five senses. So hearing, sight, taste, which is connected to smell oftentimes. Touch is another one that we're going to have difficulty kind of doing in a COVID classroom. Because normally we kind of sit in a circle with a blindfold on and pass objects around and touch them, but that's for another day. With the listening, I want you, looking at a major piece of modern media. Music is gigantic. Every single one of you has music on your phone. Every single one of you has music you prefer. That's a big thing, right? Like, think of what identifies you and your group of friends. Often you have something similar in common, like something you both like or a group of you like. A lot of times it's music. A lot of times it's a uniting factor to people. Part of the reason we're into certain music is that it kind of speaks to our values or our interpretation of things. So when you're listening to music and it comments on your country or on certain large social issues, it's important to kind of get that perspective, especially if it's music outside of your normal like listening zone. Some of you may not be like sort of pop punk rock listeners, so you might not have been into the Green Day. This is certainly Green Day of a different generation than the Green Day you're listening to now. Like, this is not Boulevard of Broken Dreams Green Day. This is earlier, a little grittier, but it's pop enough. It's not like true punk. I'm not giving you the Sex Pistols or the Clash. With like something like Green Day, they are critical of culture, particularly of the mindlessness and sort of materialism of America. They're also critical of government. With something like Kanye, definitely materialism culture. You're looking at a culture over-focused on the wrong things. With something like Neil Young, you are looking at social issues, poverty, hunger, people being ignored, not helped. With Jack and Diane, you're looking at coming of age. So what does like that perfect American dream childhood and teenage years look like? The idea of the American dream comes up in all of them to some extent. What does the American dream look like in each of those songs? An old research paper question we had was, is it the American dream or the American nightmare? I think Green Day would say it's the American nightmare. When you are considering like what these different artists feel, you could also look at what's influencing them. That's why I gave time periods. You have several that are post 9/11. Post 9/11, we see a changeover in government structure in America. Some of them are in the early 80s, so they're dealing with long-term impact from the Vietnam War. Desert Storm is starting up. Like they have a different political atmosphere than the early 2000s did. So if you were like kind of curious, you could almost look up different things that were going on. In particular, Neil Young is really political, so it would be easy enough if you were like, oh, this song seems pretty critical. I wonder what in particular he has an issue with. And you could look at his sort of protest career. Sometimes when I give you assignments, you can do the work with what's in front of you. But I also leave it open that if you wanted to dig further into some of that, you could. You might discover something you really liked or enjoyed just by saying, I'm going to look further and I don't really know much about Neil Young. Maybe you'll discover that you actually like him. Could be something cool for your personal development. You'll find I frequently pepper in things like that. You will see a similar approach to the songs in the next class we have. So when you're looking at the covers, they talk about different overall social issues. I want you thinking about these social issues in terms of America. So that's different than just thinking about them in terms of your own personal opinion. You can start with your personal opinion and then think, how does it connect to or reflect the country? Do you find yourself at odds with the country? Do you agree with it? What is the country's perspective? What do we generally think and agree on? Do we not agree? These are all important things to consider, and maybe you've never stopped to consider them before. Songs are kind of a fun way to do that too, because I would think that you liked more of them than you disliked, and it was an easy enough way to introduce several very big topics. Same thing with the cover assignment. How do I introduce topics like the political atmosphere in America, mental health treatment in America, societal treatment of people like women or homeless people or people who are hungry? Like, how do we talk about these things? There's a song for that, and it might be a more casual or upbeat way to broach that topic for the first time with you guys. And by no means will these be the only times that we bring these issues up, but it is a good starting point. And again, I like to keep peppering in occasionally. When you do research paper, you have complete control over your topic. And given that you have complete control over your topic, sometimes you'll discover something even this early that really interests you and could potentially be the topic that you write about for research paper. All we talk about all year is, what does it mean to be American? So if push comes to shove and you're like, what am I doing with this particular song or assignment? Ask yourself, how does it connect to that question? What does it mean to be American? What is this asking you about the country? What does it say? What does it inspire you to answer? I do also want you, considering these things in terms of your own opinion, just always connected with the greater idea. It's not enough to just say, well, I think yes or no to this. I want you connecting it further out than just yourself. I hope that clarifies that point a little, and maybe even help some of you expand on the work that you already did. I hope that answers the questions from your exit tickets. That's what I saw in terms of the responses, and it's 2:30 on Wednesday, so it's about as late as I'm willing to go because I still need to get Thursday's lessons up for you. I hope you guys have a good rest of your Wednesday. Hope to see you Thursday and Friday. Big announcement, please bring any books you have into the building. We need them. Also charge your laptops, also charge your phones, also bring your own charging cords with you to school. We do not have extra. We do not have extra laptops. We do not have extra laptop cords. We do not have extra phone cords. We barely have enough plugs. Just being honest with you. My room has some of the higher number of plugs, and I only have 4. So please, please, please charge everything. Other than that, use Remind. Sign up for it if you haven't. Those of you who have been on Remind, we've had a very good relationship so far. And make sure you come to the meets as quickly as you can so we can get attendance handled. Otherwise, I'll see you guys later. Have a great day, kids.